I helped raise my brother after our parents died. Paid for his school, bought him his first car, got him his first job. Yesterday, I walked into the office to find he'd taken my position and my promotion. "You were always better at supporting," he said, eyes cold. "I'm better at leading." I cleared my desk, but not before forwarding the email he forgot I had access to. "My name's Daniel. I'm 35 now. I live in Columbus, Ohio. This is the story of how I raised my brother like a son, gave him everything, and watched him tear me down for a title. And what I did when he thought he'd gotten away with it. It started when I was 23. Our parents were driving back from a weekend in Cleveland. A drunk driver crossed the line and hit them head-on. They died on impact. My little brother, Jake, was 13. I'll never forget picking him up from school that day. The principal called me, said it was urgent. Jake was sitting on a bench outside the office, swinging his legs. He smiled when he saw me. Then he noticed I'd been crying. I had no clue how to be a parent. I just finished college. I had a small apartment and a job at an insurance call center. But there was no one else. No relatives nearby. I took guardianship papers home the next week and signed them. For the next 5 years, I worked 2 jobs to keep us afloat. Jake needed new clothes every 6 months. School supplies. Food. I'd wake up at 6, get him ready for school, head to my morning job, then drive Uber at night. I missed birthdays. Friends drifted away. Dating was a joke. But I didn't care. Jake was my responsibility. My brother. My family. When he graduated high school, he wanted to go to Ohio State. His grades were solid, but not enough for a full ride. I helped him fill out FAFSA, co-signed his loans, and paid for his books and meal plan. His second year, I bought him a used Honda Accord. Not flashy, but it ran well. He needed it for class and his part-time job. He hugged me that day. I remember that. After he graduated, I got him his first job. I'd been working at a consulting firm for almost a decade at that point. Started as an analyst, moved up to project coordinator, then project manager. I was respected. Trusted. Not flashy, but solid. Jake had the kind of personality people liked right away. He was funny, confident, smooth-talking. I thought maybe he could go far in sales or client strategy. I vouched for him with my director. Told him Jake was reliable, driven. A good bet. He got hired. I helped him get his bearings, showed him how to navigate company politics, how to write proper emails, how to read people in meetings. He was a fast learner. The past few years, things started to shift. Jake got a few quick promotions. People said he was a rising star. He started wearing better suits. Driving a nicer car. Anna, the in-house attorney, took notice. They got married last year. She's smart. Polished. Way out of his league, to be honest. Meanwhile, I kept my head down. I was in line for a promotion, director of client strategy. My boss had hinted at it months ago. Said it was mine unless someone came out of nowhere. Then came the Monday that changed everything. I walked into the office a little later than usual. Traffic was bad. I had my coffee, my laptop bag. First thing I noticed. People were acting weird. Staring at me. Some avoided eye contact. I headed to my office. Or what used to be my office. The nameplate had changed. Jake Davis, Director, Client Strategy 1 froze. I walked in without knocking. Jake was behind my desk. My chair. My space. Calm as can be. He didn't even stand up. "Hey," he said. "HR should have sent the memo." I looked around, confused. "They gave you the promotion?" I asked. He leaned back, hands folded like he owned the place. "You were always better at supporting," he said. "I'm better at leading." Just like that. Like the last 20 years didn't matter. I didn't say anything. I just walked out. I don't remember much else. I was numb. Back at my desk, which had been cleared out already, I sat down. HR told me they'd restructured, and there was a spot open in data review. A demotion, basically. I told them I'd take a few days to consider. Then I remembered something. When I first helped Jake on board, I was his internal reference. That meant I was copied on all of his early email threads. When he switched departments, his permissions never changed. IT never revoked my access to his shared folder. I clicked it open. Just curiosity. Or maybe hope. I don't know. What I found made my hands go cold. There was an email thread, subject line. Undisclosed client incentives. Dated just a few weeks ago. Jake was talking to one of our biggest clients. Sinclair Enterprises, offering them special perks. Stuff that wasn't in the contract. Promised priority scheduling. Offered backdated discounts. All without compliance sign-off. Even worse, he'd blind copied his personal Gmail address to keep the thread off record. It was bad. Really bad. Violated multiple company policies. Could damage client trust. Maybe even legal issues. And I had all of it. I stared at the screen for a long time. Jake didn't just take my promotion. He stole it. Lied for it. Stepped over me without a second thought. And he thought he was untouchable. I forwarded the thread to 3 people, the head of compliance, our CO, and Anna. That last one, Anna, I hesitated on. But she needed to see it. See, Anna's not just his wife. She's also our corporate attorney. She knows how bad this was. And she knew Jake. Or thought she did. She also didn't know about the affair. Yeah. 6 months ago, Jake got sloppy at a company happy hour. Told a junior rep he had a thing going on in Miami. With someone who understood him better than Anna. Her name? Melanie. Melanie was an entry-level client rep who left the company suddenly not long after that trip. People whispered. I ignored it. Now I didn't. I attached a screenshot of that conversation too. Sent it to Anna's work email. Then I closed my laptop and went home. What happened next came fast. The next morning, Jake was called into HR. By lunch, Sinclair had frozen all active contracts. By 3 p.m., Jake was placed on leave pending an investigation. Anna? She didn't respond to my email. But she did something louder. She filed for legal separation that same day and publicly posted about it in our internal system, citing personal and professional betrayal. Jake tried calling me. Once. Then twice. Left a voicemail. Dan, you don't understand. It's not what it looks like. You didn't have to do this. We're family. I didn't respond. Because to him, I was only family when it was convenient. He thought I'd play quiet and let him walk all over me. He forgot who kept the receipts. After I sent the emails and forwarded the proof, I thought that would be the end of it. I was wrong. 3 days later, I was called into a meeting with HR, compliance, and legal. It wasn't just about Jake anymore. They asked me how I got access to his email. I explained everything. That I'd been added years ago as a reference, and the IT team never removed me. I hadn't hacked anything. I didn't guess a password. I just clicked a folder he forgot I had access to. But they didn't seem satisfied. Regardless of intent, one of the legal reps said, this could be interpreted as an internal breach. That's when it hit me. They weren't just mad at Jake. They were embarrassed. This was a company-wide failure. A director violating contracts, a compliance lapse, and now an internal whistleblower using an old email access loophole. They didn't want this to get out. We appreciate your honesty, they told me. But we think it's best if you step away for a while. With severance. I stared at them. You're firing me? We're offering you a graceful exit. Jake stole my promotion. I exposed fraud. And now I was the one getting pushed out. I didn't argue. I didn't yell. I just nodded and asked them to put it in writing. As I was leaving, I passed by Jake's office. The door was shut. But I saw him inside, pacing. Sweating. A temp had already cleared out his nameplate. That night, Anna called me. Her voice was tired. Not angry. Just done. Thank you, she said. For not protecting him this time. She told me everything. That she knew about the Miami trip. That Jake had begged her to stay. That she'd already seen signs, but didn't want to admit them. Then she said something I didn't expect. I'm pregnant, Daniel. I didn't say anything. I don't know if I'm keeping it. I let her talk. I didn't give advice. I just listened. A week later, I got a message from an unknown number. Melanie. She'd seen the fallout. A friend told her Jake had been suspended. She asked if I had shared anything about Miami. I told her the truth. Yes. You were mentioned in passing. Why? She said Jake had lied to her, too. Told her Anna knew. Said the marriage was open. Said he and I barely spoke anymore. That I was jealous of him. She sounded broken. You're not the only one he used, she said. He told me you were just a bitter, washed-up older brother who couldn't handle his success. I didn't get mad. I didn't respond. But later that night, I sent her a copy of the email chain with Sinclair, redacted to hide client info. Just enough to show her what kind of man Jake really was. A few days later, she posted a thread anonymously on a public business ethics forum. It started picking up attention. Fast. The headline? How a rising director tried to cheat clients and ruin lives, and got burned by his own brother. It went viral in our industry. Even without names, people figured it out. Our company started getting questioned by partner firms. Recruiters started quietly pulling back from Jake's LinkedIn. Anna's post about the separation got thousands of reactions. Support. Praise. Jake stopped calling. But the damage was far from done. One morning, I got a knock on my door. It was a courier. Certified letter. Jake was suing me for defamation and unauthorized access. That's when I knew. He wasn't just desperate. He was going to drag me down with him. But what he didn't know was that I had more. A lot more. Including the HR emails he'd forwarded to his personal account months ago, breaking policy. And a private message he once sent me, bragging about how he'd never let some old fart like Keller stay in charge. Keller was our CEO. And the message? It was still in my inbox. I had no idea just how deep this was going to go. But now it wasn't about revenge anymore. It was about survival. The lawsuit wasn't real. Not yet, anyway. It was what lawyers call a cease and desist. Dressed up to look like a lawsuit, something to scare me. A threat. Jake claimed I'd accessed private communications and defamed his character in a way that caused personal and professional harm. The letter came from some solo attorney in Dayton. Not a major firm. A guy with a cheap-looking website who probably did traffic tickets on the side. I wasn't scared. But I was angry. Because it told me Jake still didn't get it. He still thought he could control the story. Still thought if he played victim hard enough, people would forget what he'd actually done. I forwarded the letter to a lawyer I knew, someone Anna had recommended years ago when I was helping her with a small nonprofit contract. His name was Peter Chung. Sharp guy. Calm but tough. Korean American, mid-40s, and absolutely no tolerance for people like Jake. Peter read the letter, then laughed. "This is trash," he said. "And if he wants to take it further, we'll bury him." But Peter had another idea. "Daniel, you said this wasn't the first time Jake crossed lines, right?" I nodded. "Not even close." Peter leaned forward. "Then stop playing defense. Let's go on the offensive." He walked me through it, how whistleblower protections worked, what counted as evidence, and what the company might be hiding if they were willing to let me go after what Jake did. He had me file an official complaint to the Ohio State Board of Ethics, since our firm worked with some public sector clients. He also pulled financial records from public contracts Jake had handled. And something weird came up. 3 months before Jake's promotion, there were payments made to an outside consulting contractor, listed under a name I didn't recognize, Tom Keller Solutions. At first, I thought it was a coincidence. But I checked LinkedIn. Tom Keller was a fake profile. No connections. No photo. No real background. But the name, Keller? It matched our CEO. And the bank tied to the consulting payments? It was registered in Jake's name. We found it all. A side deal. Kickbacks. Money flowing through a shell company Jake created under the CEO's name to make it look clean. Peter stared at the report when it was all laid out. "This is bigger than him stealing your job," he said. "This is federal." I didn't know what to say. Everything kept spiraling. I just wanted to stop him from stepping on me. Now it looked like Jake was involved in something that could get people indicted. That's when the emails started. Anonymous tips to reporters. Posts in niche business forums. A Reddit thread called, "My CEO is laundering through his golden boy," started trending. I never posted anything. But someone else did. Someone with access. Anna. She was no longer hiding. And she wasn't working alone. Turns out, after the Sinclair mess, she stayed just long enough to gather her own evidence. Jake had used her work computer once to draft an internal memo, one he never sent. That made it sound like the promotion had been planned all along, and that he and the CEO had a verbal understanding. Anna had screenshotted it. And saved chat logs from when Jake begged her not to leave. One of those chats? Jake said something that sealed his fate. "If you turn on me, I'll tell them you knew everything. You'll go down too." She sent that to Peter. We now had texts, emails, bank records, and company files. But before Peter could move forward, someone else beat us to it. The FBI? Not dramatic like in movies. No raids. No suits with badges at the door. Just a quiet call to Peter from a federal agent asking if we'd be willing to talk, off the record. Jake had set something in motion that neither of us could stop now. And I had a feeling it was going to get darker before it got better. When the FBI got involved, everything changed. Peter warned me to stay quiet. No more emails. No texts. No leaks. Just listen. Let them do their job. So I did. For once I waited. 2 weeks later, they called me in for a formal interview. A real agent. Badge, notepad, voice recorder. I answered every question. Told them everything I knew. Gave them copies of every email, screenshot, and message Anna and I had saved. Then they asked the question I didn't see coming. Did you know your brother was taking money from Keller? I blinked. No, I said. Why? They slid a document across the table. A financial report. Jake had created 2 shell companies. One for the client kickbacks. And one with my name on it. Davis Strategy Group. I stared at it. He was laundering part of the money through an LLC under my name. Fake paperwork. An old P.O. box address I used years ago on tax forms. All set up months before he stole my job. He'd set me up to take the fall if things ever went bad. I couldn't breathe. It felt like the floor fell out from under me. I looked at the agent. I swear I didn't know. I didn't sign anything. I didn't even know that company existed. He nodded slowly. We believe you. But we'll need to dig deeper. They did. For weeks. Subpoenas. Depositions. Quiet investigations. No one at the office knew what was happening. Not yet. Until the day it all broke loose. A federal indictment dropped. News stations picked it up. My old company was under investigation for fraud, wire laundering, conspiracy, and ethics violations. Jake was named. So was Keller. Along with 5 others. Mid-level managers, finance leads, even a client who had taken bribes to steer contracts. The charges were serious. Money laundering. Tax fraud. Corporate deception. All backed by months of emails, financial records, and testimony. The company collapsed overnight. They froze all assets. Clients walked. Board members resigned. Jake was arrested at 6 a.m. outside his new apartment. Anna sent me the photo, him in handcuffs, barefoot in sweatpants, staring down at the sidewalk. Keller tried to run. He flew to Denver the day before the indictment dropped. FBI picked him up at the airport. I watched it all unfold on the news. And still, it wasn't enough. Because they tried to drag me down with them. 3 weeks later, I got a letter from the IRS. I was being audited. Because of suspicious business activity. Tied to Davis Strategy Group. It took everything Peter had to fix it. He filed affidavits, got sworn statements from the FBI, from Anna, even from Melanie, who had testified that Jake called it his emergency parachute plan. I wasn't charged. But I was flagged. My name would be on lists for years. I lost job offers. Had to fight to rent an apartment. Some people still whispered. Thought maybe I had something to do with it. But I stayed quiet. Focused on cleaning up the mess. Until I got the letter. Jake, from jail, had written to me. Handwritten. 2 pages. He didn't apologize. He blamed me. You always thought you were better than me, he wrote. But you were just weak. People like me rise. People like you follow. You couldn't handle that. At the bottom, he wrote one last line. I hope it was worth it. I didn't respond. I didn't cry. I didn't tear it up. I framed it. Hung it in my hallway, right under my new degree. See, after everything, I used the settlement money the company paid out to silence whistleblower suits, to go back to school. Got a master's in organizational ethics. Now, I teach at a small college in Dayton. Business ethics, leadership, and fraud prevention. My students don't know my full story. Just parts. I tell them about a company I once worked for, and how ignoring red flags can destroy everything. Jake was sentenced to 14 years. Eligible for parole in 9. Keller got 22. Most of the others took plea deals. Anna moved away. She had the baby. Never told Jake. The boys do now. She sent me a photo once. He looks nothing like his father. And me? I live a quieter life now. Still single. Still healing. But I sleep better. Because in the end, Jake was right about one thing. I was better at supporting. But when he gave me no choice, I learned how to lead, the hard way. And the fallout from that? He'll be feeling it for the rest of his life. I made sure of it.